Something ancient and deliberate sits between you and this person, something ordinary logic cannot touch or dismiss. You felt it in quiet moments, a knowing that defies reason, a gravity that pulls without explanation. What the cards confirm today is that this awareness has finally become mutual, acknowledged fully on both sides. Come in close, because what the cards lay down is a confirmation that changes the entire trajectory forward. The recognition landed in both of you, and what follows that recognition is exactly what this reading reveals. Our first card is the Seven of Pentacles, grounding this connection in patience that has already been invested. The Seven of Pentacles represents seasons of quiet labor, months where both of you tended this bond silently. This card says neither of you abandoned the connection, even during stretches when communication went completely silent. The Seven of Pentacles confirms something was growing underground, fed by memory, by unspoken loyalty, by stubborn hope. You watered this bond without knowing if it would bloom, and this person did the exact same privately. The Seven of Pentacles does not appear for convenience. It marks investments, specifically that cost genuine emotional effort. Neither of you planned this loyalty. It grew organically, rooted in something you could never name or control. What this card reveals is that the harvest season for this connection has officially arrived after prolonged waiting. The patience both of you carried was never wasted. It was the quiet foundation that made everything possible. Now we have the Hierophant stepping into this reading, and it elevates the connection beyond the ordinary entirely. The Hierophant represents sacred contracts, bonds agreed upon before either of you had conscious memory of choosing. This card confirms the connection carries a spiritual signature, a marking that separates it from casual encounters permanently. The Hierophant says, you both recognized each other on a level that precedes language, logic, and explanation. This is why the connection survived distance, survived silence, survived every obstacle, because its origin is not surface level. The Hierophant does not validate infatuation. It validates covenants. And the cards confirm this bond carries that weight. You both sensed the sacredness separately, and now mutual recognition is creating a momentum that cannot be undone. The Hierophant confirms what lives between you was never meant to remain hidden or unspoken past this point. Then we have the Ace of Swords, and this card cuts through every remaining layer of denial instantly. The Ace of Swords represents a breakthrough in clarity, the moment where both minds arrive simultaneously at truth. This card says the fog surrounding this connection has lifted, and what remains is sharp, mutual, unfiltered understanding. The Ace of Swords confirms a conversation forming, rooted in absolute transparency and complete intellectual alignment. Both of you possess the same awareness, the same certainty, and the same readiness to name what exists. The Ace of Swords does not arrive for vagueness. It marks the precise moment when truth becomes unavoidable. This is the confirmation you needed. Clarity arrived, and it touched you both at the exact same time. Together, these three cards confirm this connection graduated from unspoken knowing into fully conscious mutual recognition. The Seven of Pentacles proved investment. The Hierophant sanctified the bond, and the Ace of Swords cleared path. When I say this is not normal, the cards offer layered evidence, 18 confirmations deep to prove it. You both know it. That threshold has been crossed, and what follows is the direct result of knowing. This connection stood the test of patience, earned sacred confirmation, and now clarity has opened the door permanently. What follows from here is everything you both quietly prayed for during every season of silence and separation. So now I want to zoom in on you, because the cards are highlighting where you stand emotionally. You sensed for a while that this connection was different, and that knowledge lately became impossible to silence. A restlessness lives inside you, a sensation persistent and heavy that you stand at the edge of something. Your intuition has been screaming confirmation, and your logical mind fought it with every defense available to you. That internal tug of war between what you feel and what you allow yourself to believe has been exhausting you. Let us go ahead and get into it, because your cards paint a vivid portrait of your world. Our first card is the High Priestess, validating every instinct you doubted and every gut feeling you silenced. The High Priestess confirms your intuition was accurate. You sensed the depth of this bond long before proof. This card says you carry a spiritual awareness that most people lack, an ability to read beneath words. The High Priestess reveals you dismissed your knowing repeatedly, labeling it as wishful thinking rather than genuine perception. You downplayed your instincts because trusting them fully felt too vulnerable and too risky without external validation. The High Priestess confirms your inner compass has been accurate all along, pointing toward this connection with precision. You sensed the sacred nature of this bond, even during chapters where logic instructed you to abandon it. The High Priestess honors that quiet strength, the kind that operates beneath noise and never demands applause. Your ability to perceive beyond surface appearances is exactly what kept you tethered when others would have left. Now we have the Three of Wands arriving, and this card captures the anticipation occupying your chest entirely. The Three of Wands represents standing at the horizon, scanning the distance for what you know is approaching. This card confirms you have been mentally preparing, arranging yourself emotionally for a shift you can feel coming. The Three of Wands says you made peace with this bond, and now you await it. You positioned yourself carefully, not rushing forward impulsively, but holding space with patience that surprises even you. The Three of Wands reveals a quiet confidence growing inside you, a certainty that your waiting was purposeful. You stopped questioning whether this was real and began preparing instead for the moment acknowledgement finally arrives. Then we have the Nine of Wands, and this card honors the battle scars you accumulated arriving here. The Nine of Wands shows a warrior tested relentlessly, standing battered but unbroken at the finish line today. You endured confusion, silence, mixed signals, and emotional whiplash, and somehow you remained standing through everything. The Nine of Wands confirms resilience is not stubbornness. It is cellular recognition that this bond deserves it. You fought for this connection in ways nobody witnessed. Quiet battles, private tears, and mornings where hope disappeared. The Nine of Wands validates every invisible wound collected and confirms your endurance was never wasted or misplaced. Your guard is still partially raised, and the cards honor that protective instinct without judging you for it. You learned to shield yourself while remaining open, a paradox that only your emotional intelligence could sustain. The Nine of Wands says, the final test of your patience approaches, and you will pass it gracefully. What these three cards reveal together is an individual who combined intuition, anticipation, and endurance into unbreakable foundation. The High Priestess gave you knowing, the Three of Wands added readiness, and the Nine granted armor. You arrived at this moment fully equipped, emotionally seasoned, and spiritually aware of what this connection truly represents. The viewer energy here is extraordinary because you refused to collapse under the weight of uncertainty at all. Every season of doubt was secretly building the strength required for the chapter approaching you now. You held the line. You trusted your instincts, and the cards confirm you were right to do so. Now the cards are turning entirely toward this person because their internal world demands to be witnessed. This person arrived at a place of terrifying clarity, and they cannot unknow what they finally understand. The realization that this connection is not ordinary hit them like a wave they were never braced for. They spent months rationalizing feelings, filing them into categories that made logical sense and felt manageable. But the categories collapsed, the logic unraveled, and what remained was a truth too massive to contain. Let us go deeper, because the cards expose a side of this person they guard with absolute ferocity. Our first card is the Five of Cups, revealing the grief this person carries beneath their practiced composure. The Five of Cups shows regret pooling silently, mourning in private for opportunities they allowed to slip away. This person grieves the version of themselves that could have spoken sooner, acted braver, and chosen differently. The Five of Cups confirms they fixate on what was lost, replaying scenarios where courage led to closeness. Their grief is not dramatic. It is the quiet kind that sits in the stomach and never dissolves. The Five of Cups says this person punishes themselves internally, carrying blame for distance they believe they created. They constructed a narrative where they caused the stalling, and that self-written story haunts them without mercy. The guilt operates like a quiet engine, powering every sleepless night and every second-guessed decision they made. Now we have the Knight of Pentacles, and this card reveals their methodical approach to processing emotion. The Knight of Pentacles represents deliberate emotional processing. They catalog feelings, examine them, and attempt to understand purpose. This person does not experience intensity recklessly. They dissect each feeling before granting it any internal space. The Knight of Pentacles confirms they built a case internally, stacking evidence, quietly, of why this connection matters. They gathered memories like documents, organized feelings like files, and arrived at a conclusion they cannot dispute. The Knight of Pentacles says their slow pace was never indifference. It was careful processing of overwhelming truth. This person needed time to grasp the magnitude, because accepting it meant restructuring everything they believed about themselves. The Knight reveals they reached their verdict quietly, without announcement, without fanfare, and without a single witness. Their conclusion is absolute. This connection transcends the ordinary, and they stopped pretending it resembles anything familiar. Then we have the Queen of Cups, exposing the emotional depth this person conceals from every living soul. The Queen of Cups represents feelings that run oceanic, vast and powerful beneath a surface of practiced calm. This person experiences emotion at a frequency most cannot access, and that intensity terrifies them regarding you. The Queen of Cups confirms they absorb your energy from distance, feeling shifts in your mood without explanation. They dreamed about you recently, vivid and emotionally saturated dreams that left them shaken and completely vulnerable. The Queen of Cups reveals an empathic thread to you, one they never consciously chose or created. Their emotional reservoir regarding you is bottomless, and the cards confirm they have only shown surface portions. What this person feels privately would overwhelm most, but the Queen of Cups carries it with quiet dignity. The Queen of Cups says their devotion is internal, expressed through thought, silent commitment, and energetic loyalty. This person holds you in their emotional field constantly. You occupy a space nothing else has ever filled. What all three cards expose is grief processing slowly, precision building certainty, and feelings running without any limit. The Five of Cups showed grief, the Knight of Pentacles mapped process, and the Queen revealed oceanic depth. This person is not confused about what they feel. They are overwhelmed by the sheer volume of it. Their silence was never absence. It was the sound of holding an ocean inside a body too small. So the cards are pivoting into action now because this person is done sitting with what they know. The knowing phase has ended, and what replaces it is concrete movement that the cards map with precision. This person crossed the invisible line between contemplation and decision, and there is no returning to passivity. The shift happened recently, quietly and without warning, but the momentum behind it all is already accelerating beyond control. What we see in this section is a person translating certainty into external steps you will witness. Let us see what the cards reveal, because the timeline here is tighter than you would expect. Our first card is the Chariot, and this is the most powerful forward motion card in the entire deck. The Chariot represents unstoppable willpower, a decision that has been locked in and cannot be reversed or diluted. This person grabbed the reins of hesitation forcefully and overrode every single fear that previously kept them frozen. The Chariot confirms they are advancing toward you with singular focus, cutting through distractions and competing priorities entirely. This card does not allow detours. It demands confrontation with truth, and this person accepted that charge. The Chariot says the approach will feel determined and purposeful, not tentative or testing the waters cautiously. This person is not tiptoeing toward you. They are marching with conviction toward the conversation they have rehearsed. The Chariot confirms there is no second guessing remaining. The wheels are turning and the destination is locked in. The velocity of their decision surprised even them, but once the internal dam broke, everything rushed forward instantly. Now we have the Two of Wands, and this card reveals the strategic planning behind their approaching move. The Two of Wands represents a calculated next step, holding the world in their hands, deliberately choosing direction. This person mapped the approach carefully, considering timing, environment, and the exact words they intend to deliver. The Two of Wands confirms this is not impulse, not spontaneity. It is a premeditated act of bravery. They weighed every possible outcome, accepted the risk of rejection, and chose to move forward regardless of consequences. The Two of Wands says they selected the method of contact, and it leans toward direct personal interaction. This person wants to see your face when truth lands. They want to witness your reaction firsthand. The Two of Wands reveals a preference for intimacy over convenience. They chose the harder, more vulnerable path. The Two of Wands confirms they visualized every detail of the encounter, rehearsing words until they felt certain. Their planning is meticulous, but beneath the strategy, the driving force is pure emotional necessity and nothing else. Then we have the Eight of Wands, and this card collapses the timeline into something immediate and undeniable. The Eight of Wands represents swift communication arriving, messages sent, contact initiated, and barriers dissolving at rapid speed. This card confirms events are about to accelerate dramatically, and the pace will catch you off guard completely. The Eight of Wands does not crawl, it launches, and what built will reach you with staggering velocity. This card says the window between their decision and their action is narrower than anything you would anticipate. The Eight of Wands confirms that obstacles which once seemed permanent are crumbling simultaneously, clearing the path forward. The combination of the Chariot and the Eight of Wands creates arrival energy that cannot be postponed. This person is not arriving next month, not eventually. The cards confirm the timeline is compressed and imminent. What all three cards confirm is willpower locked in, strategy chosen, and a timeline collapsing into the present. The Chariot drove the decision, the Two of Wands designed approach, and the Eight of Wands set speed. This person is in motion right now, and the direction is unmistakable, straight toward you, without detour. When they arrive, it will not feel tentative. It will feel like a force that permitted release. Okay, the cards are stripping this person bare, exposing confessions they guard with their entire life. What surfaces here is material they would never speak aloud, desires buried beneath composure every single day. These are not thoughts shared with friends, not feelings they journal. These exist only in raw silence. The cards pull confessions from a vault this person believed was sealed, and nothing remains hidden anymore. What lives in this section is the unedited version of how they experience you when nobody watches. This section demands reverence because what you are about to hear has never been shared with anyone. Let us dive into this because the depth of what they conceal is staggering and absolutely undeniable. Our first card is the Ten of Cups, and this confession reveals a future they constructed around you. The Ten of Cups reveals fantasies of domestic permanence, a life woven together at the most intimate level. They imagine holidays beside you, mornings tangled in conversation, and evenings where shared silence feels like sanctuary. The Ten of Cups confirms they constructed an entire inner world, with you occupying the central role permanently. This person does not daydream casually. They architect full emotional blueprints with you at the foundation of everything. The Ten of Cups says their confession is not fleeting attraction, it is a vision of lifelong partnership. They picture building something together, whether that means family, legacy, or a shared existence that outlasts everything. The weight of this private vision terrifies them, because admitting it means admitting how completely you consumed them. Now we have the King of Cups, exposing the emotional mastery they weaponize daily to hide vulnerability. The King of Cups represents controlled emotional expression, surgical precision in revealing only what feels safe externally. This person curates every interaction with you, measuring words carefully, terrified that depth will leak through composure. The King of Cups confirms their calm exterior is performance, beneath it, a desperate craving to be chosen. They confess privately that your opinion matters more than any other judgment they have ever faced in life. The King of Cups reveals they rehearse indifference, practicing detachment as armor while their insides scream opposite. This person perfected the art of appearing unbothered, while cataloging every word you spoke, every gesture offered. The King of Cups says their deepest confession is that they are terrified of appearing emotionally needy. Their pride constructed an elaborate fortress, but inside that fortress, they whisper your name into the dark. Then we have Temperance, and this confession carries the most sacred admission of the entire reading today. Temperance reveals this person privately views your connection as divinely balanced, two halves calibrated to complete one another. They believe in their most honest moments that meeting you was cosmic arrangement far beyond ordinary explanation. Temperance confirms they see you as their equilibrium, the presence that steadies everything chaotic and unstable within. This person confesses silently that without you, they feel perpetually tilted, as if gravity shifted when you left. Temperance says they understand the sacredness of this bond, intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally, all three levels at once. Their hidden confession through Temperance is that ordinary connections lost all meaning because of what you represent. You shattered the standard, ruined the template, and now nothing familiar can satisfy what you awakened inside them. What all three cards expose is domestic dreams, emotional concealment, and sacred recognition, confessed in total secrecy. The Ten of Cups built the vision, the King of Cups masked desperation, and Temperance sanctified the bond. These three confessions together form a portrait of devotion so fierce it could rewrite everything between you. Every confession points to a truth they cannot escape. You are the axis their heart rotates around endlessly. They have not spoken these words yet, but inside, every syllable has been composed, revised, and memorized. Now, I want to seal this reading because the near future cards confirm exactly what is approaching you. Our first card is the Six of Wands, and this is pure victory energy arriving into your connection. The Six of Wands confirms public recognition of this bond. What was hidden finally becomes visible and acknowledged. This card says the face-to-face carries a triumphant quality, as if you both finally crossed a finish line. The Six of Wands promises others will witness the shift between you, and the surrounding energy is undeniable. This card aligns with weeks ahead, not distant months, and the momentum across this reading confirms that timing. Then we have the Four of Wands, flooding the near future with celebration, homecoming, and permanent emotional foundation. The Four of Wands represents reunion that feels like arriving home, a bond clicking into its destined position. This card confirms the connection graduates from private longing into shared commitment, solidified by those witnessing it. The Four of Wands says what approaches is not temporary. It is the laying of permanent emotional groundwork. Together, the Six of Wands and Four of Wands confirm a near future of victory, reunion, and stability. Now we have Judgment as your advice card, the most potent spiritual guidance this entire deck can offer. Judgment advises you to answer this calling without hesitation, because this moment is a spiritual summons entirely. This card says, release old narratives about unworthiness. Release every fear that you are too much or insufficient. Judgment reminds you that transformation requires surrender, and the connection approaching demands you meet it openly. Your advice is to rise into the fullest version of yourself, because this bond requires complete authenticity. Judgment says past versions of you served their purpose, but this chapter demands evolution and courageous vulnerability. Judgment confirms this is not a chapter you stumble into. It is one you bravely choose to enter. Let me bring the message back, because every card in this reading orbited one undeniable central truth. This is not a normal connection. You both know this, and what follows is proof of that knowing. This person approaches with confessions, with clarity, and with determination that the cards documented across all parts. The face-to-face carries victory, reunion, and the weight of everything silenced, finally given its overdue voice. Let me confirm the cards, because each served a specific and irreplaceable function throughout this entire reading. The Seven of Pentacles proved investment. The Hierophant sanctified the bond, and the Ace of Swords delivered clarity. The High Priestess validated intuition. The Three of Wands captured anticipation, and the Nine of Wands honored endurance. The Five of Cups exposed grief. The Knight of Pentacles revealed process, and the Queen showed depth. The Chariot locked willpower. The Two of Wands designed approach, and the Eight of Wands collapsed the timeline. The Ten of Cups confessed domestic visions. The King of Cups masked longing, and Temperance sanctified sacred recognition. The Six of Wands promised victory. The Four of Wands delivered reunion, and Judgment offered transformative spiritual advice. 18 cards across 6 parts, all confirming this connection transcends the ordinary, and it always has entirely. You are not delusional. You are not projecting, and you are not alone. It is mutual. The universe orchestrated every detail of this reading, and not a single card contradicted the message given. What approaches deserves your courage, your trust, and the willingness to stand present when the moment arrives. Thank you for being here today, for trusting this reading, and for honoring each card with your attention. You are deeply valued, profoundly seen, and the universe confirmed that through each card pulled for you today. Carry this with you, hold it close to your heart, and prepare for the chapter already opening ahead. Thank you for your presence and your energy, and I will see you in the very next reading. This card says the face-to-face carries a triumphant quality, as if you both finally crossed a finish line. The Six of Wands promises others will witness the shift between you, and the surrounding energy is undeniable. This card aligns with weeks ahead, not distant months, and the momentum across this reading confirms that timing. Then we have the Four of Wands, flooding the near future with celebration, homecoming, and permanent emotional foundation. The Four of Wands represents reunion that feels like arriving home, a bond clicking into its destined position. This card confirms the connection graduates from private longing into shared commitment, solidified by those witnessing it. The Four of Wands says what approaches is not temporary. It is the laying of permanent emotional groundwork. Together, the Six of Wands and Four of Wands confirm a near future of victory, reunion, and stability. Now we have Judgment as your advice card, the most potent spiritual guidance this entire deck can offer. Judgment advises you to answer this calling without hesitation, because this moment is a spiritual summons entirely.